and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Yeah, just like that. It is time. We're off and we're running another brand new live edition of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. We will be with you until 9 a.m. on a wet start to your Tuesday. Safe travels into work, into school, wherever you may be headed this morning. And if you'd like to join the program, feel free to do so. It's simple, it's easy, it's free. It's 256-576-4977. That's the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline if you would like to join us throughout the day. What do we have in store on docket, on the table, or whatever you want? We got to get you ready for SEC basketball. Alabama back on the hardwood tonight as they entertain Vanderbilt. In fact, you've got 4 SEC games back on the hardwood. South Carolina is going to welcome Mississippi State. Arkansas is going to welcome Texas A&M. Ole Miss is going to welcome Kentucky. And then you got 4th-ranked Alabama welcoming Vanderbilt. The newest AP poll is out for basketball. Purdue, the first unanimous number 1 team in the country this season. They get all 62 first-place votes. Tennessee, number 2. Houston, 3. Alabama, 4. Arizona, 5. We will talk more college basketball, though, as the show kind of goes along. We will preview Alabama, Vanderbilt. We'll preview that one. But news kind of coming to surface midway through the day yesterday, and several media outlets have reported that Alabama has interest in University of Washington offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb for their vacant offensive coordinator position. And I say interest because according to sources and according to reports, Alabama has met with Ryan Grubb, and he is a candidate according to multiple reports. He's 47 years old. He spent last season leading Washington's offense, and it was a pretty good numbers for that Washington offense last year. Now, of course, he has Michael Penix Jr. as his quarterback. But if you look at the numbers that Washington put up last year, they're pretty good numbers. Ryan Grubb's offense last year had the Huskies in the top 10 in several categories last season. They were one of the most improved offenses last year. It ranks second in this past season in averaging over 515 yards per game. 39.7 points per game. That ranks 7th behind teams including Alabama, which, by the way, averaged 41.1 points per game. Michael Penix Jr. led the nation in passing yards per game at 357. The Huskies led the nation in passing yards per game at 369. Third down conversion rate. They only committed 11 turnovers. They were tied for the 9th fewest among FBS teams in that category. They ranked 69th, though, in rushing yards per game at 146. Now, it is interesting of note that Texas A&M did reach out to Grubb last season to get him. And Washington gave him a raise at $2 million a season. And that was a record for an assistant coach for Washington. So, plus he has a bunch of staff returning. He has a bunch of players returning. So, 256-576-4977. Ryan Grubb emerging as one of those candidates for the offensive coordinator position. Not a name that we were throwing out there early, but it's a name that's surfacing later.
Usually what happens when you're following Nick Saban coaching searches, like I said, when they throw out, Jeff Lebby's and the first names that they focus on, it's never that guy. So Ryan Grubb is somebody that he's had interest in. He wanted to wait until near the Wednesday signing period, which is tomorrow, to kind of crank up these interviews, so to speak. He flew Ryan Grubb across the country, and Grubb was there on Sunday, spent Sunday in the building and Monday, and interviewed extensively with Saban. So we'll see. I mean, they were the number one passing offense in college football. They did a great job of developing Michael Penix, who had transferred from Indiana and, had connections to Kalen DeBoer and Nick Shepard, who are on that coaching staff at Indiana. And so that's the first thing. I mean, if Ryan Grubb is the guy, no, he's not going to bring Michael Penix to Alabama, because the main connections for Penix are the head coach and Shepard. So that's the one thing that when you do research, it's not going to be Grubb. Grubb, of course, had been at Fresno State. They had been really potent offensively there as well in the Mountain West Conference, and then he came to Washington, and their system's really good. It's in some ways it's similar to what Tennessee runs. They like to space the field quite a bit, attack you vertically. You just mentioned Scott. They didn't run the ball great, but I don't think their running back room is near what he would have at somewhere like Alabama as far as talent goes.
Right.
But they still maximized what they had. Had 2,000-yard receivers. Penix threw for over 4,000 yards. Was a dark horse Heisman candidate, and so I had the chance to watch him play a couple times, actually, just because of the luck of the draw where they were coming on late on the West Coast, and they did beat Texas in the bowl game as well. So it was a great turnaround by Kalen DeBoer in the first season. So it'll be interesting, and he'd already gotten 2 raises. He's gotten
Texas A&M wanted him,
right?
So that bumped him up to $2 million. Season.
Due to the fact they had a great regular season, right after the Apple Cup when they whacked Washington State, they gave him his first raise, which was around 1.5 million, an extension on the contract, multi-year contract. And then, as you said, after the bowl game, Dirt Neck came calling and wanted to hire him as offensive coordinator before he hired the, as I said, the Harley Davidson dude. And he hired Petrino, but what they did, they were aggressive. Washington was. They bumped him up to near $2 million a year. And if Alabama hires him, he's got a $2 million buyout. So that's just kind of researching that yesterday. So it would be a hefty buyout. Yeah. But a friend of mine in the media made a great point. I mean, Pete Golding had 1 year left on his contract before he went to Ole Miss. So there was probably a buyout involved there to get him to the Rebels, and so if there was, you can use that buyout money toward the amount to get Ryan Grubb if he's the guy. Now, Chris Lowe reported that he was going to interview multiple candidates, so we'll see, who those other guys are. I haven't, been able to confirm anyone as of yet, but again, if you fly the guy all the way out from the West Coast and keep it and have him there for a couple of days, I mean, obviously you're very interested in what he's done.
The question is it Kalen DeBoer's offense or is it Ryan Grubb's offense? That's the question. DeBoer is an offensive-minded coach. He was an offensive coordinator at Southern Illinois, Eastern Michigan, and Indiana before landing the head coach job at Fresno State, where he took Grubb with him, who was an offensive line coach there at Fresno State, and offensive line coach in other places. So he knows the offensive line very well as well.
Yeah, he's coached the offensive line and quarterbacks, and he's been a play caller. So he kind of checks all the boxes that Nick Saban looks for. And again, when you go back and you try to make connections, he wasn't there at the same time, but they're from the Fresno State tree, which is the same school where they hired Jim McElwain many years ago. And so and when you look at Fresno State, they've kind of been a cradle of coaches a little bit. Jeff Tedford has been there a couple of times. They've had some really good offensive minds there. So it will be interesting to kind of track going forward and see how much interest there is on each side. And obviously, Grubb was interested as well. If you're going to go out there and meet with Nick Saban one-on-one, to at least hear what he had to say.
All right, Johnny on a cell is with us this morning. Good morning, Johnny.
Hey, guys. So,
hey, man.
If they decide to want him, there's no problem buying out $2 million, and no problem. No. I mean, if Bama wants him, and all he has to do is look around the athletes sitting in the room at Alabama and look at the athletes sitting in the room in Washington and know that he's going to a whole other level.
Oh, no question. I mean, that's what I told some people, Johnny. I mean, they were talking about, well, can Alabama get him? Well, of course. I mean, with Nick Saban there's never been a problem with money and paying someone. They've always had one of the highest paid staffs in college football. It was, just researching and going to their message boards and doing and checking out what Chris Fetters was reporting. And Fetters is a guy that's been on my show in the past. He's from Dogman, which is part of 24/7. It used to be Scout. He's as connected as there is. As he told his subscribers, look, man, I mean, how can you not take a listen to what Nick Saban has to say? Look how many head coaches have been his OC. And, of course, people forget Doug Nussmeier had been at Washington before he came to Alabama. And, I know, and of course, someone pointed out, well, supposedly Bill O'Brien was only making $1.1 million, but yeah, that's what they agreed upon. But they could have paid him more, and they can pay Ryan Grubb more. I mean, as far as I know, I think Pete Golding was making 1.7 by the time he left. He was making really good money, so money's not the issue.
No, and for that matter, I mean, look, I do think it's a home run hire if they decide to get him. I mean, if that's who they want. I had, after the Cowboys fired Moore, I kind of wondered if there wouldn't be some, tentative reach outs there as well. But I can tell you this, based on when he came into Washington, he elevated the offense 72 spots. So, I mean, there's something there. I think that, I think he would be a home run hire. I think he would be the kind of guy that would bring some of the more of the other elements to the offense. Obviously, like you said, with all the studs that are sitting in the running back stable room now, I think he would have obviously you're going to have some kind of balanced attack where you're going to be able to run the football at Alabama. That'll never change. But to implement the vertical passing schemes and the things like that I think Nick Saban wants, look, I understand that, they stepped up and gave him a lot of money in Washington, but, dude, you're talking about being able to go get under Nick Saban's tree, and obviously that's a tree that's done quite well for themselves.
No question about it.
I mean, if you want to be a head coach, it's the proven spot to move on and become a head coach. All right, Johnny, thanks for the phone call. And we got to get that first break in. When we come back, we'll pick up this conversation and hear from you, 256-576-4977.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Looks like that wreck westbound on 565 is about halfway between the Old Madison Pike overpass and the Sparkman overpass. They are getting traffic by in the number 3 and number 4 lanes. Number 1 and number 2 completely closed. They are running traffic off, though, at Old Madison Pike. You can go across on the overpass there and come out on the other side and come back to 565. Got a wreck on Bob Wade at Mount Lebanon, reported with an injury. Oscar Patterson and Butler reported as a no injury. Popeye's famous chicken sandwich is only $4.99. Crispy tender chicken on a delicious toasted brioche bun. Love that chicken from Popeye's. University and Jordan, 72 and Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeye's Skywatch Traffic Center.
Streaming only on Peacock. From the mind of Ryan Johnson, the writer-director of Knives Out.
Miss Gale, you've got this gift. Always knowing the truth.
I only know if something is alive. The real trick of it is to figure out why.
Natasha Lyonne is Charlie Cale.
It wasn't an accident. I think there's been a murder.
You watch too much Dateline.
A new 10-part mystery series.
Wolves on my fender. I gotta keep moving. I have been kind of a death magnet.
Poker Face. Streaming now only on Peacock.
AVIQ. Who is AVIQ? AVIQ is audiovisual the intelligent way, where we put our IQ to work for your AV needs. With more than 100 years combined experience in audio, video, and automation, our team of experts is dedicated to one thing, helping you discover technological solutions that make your home special. Once you experience a game or a movie on one of our state-of-the-art home theater systems, you may never leave the house again. AVIQ can build the entire system for you or provide the quality components if you're a do-it-yourselfer. But AVIQ is more than just home theater and state-of-the-art sound systems. We offer a variety of control options for home technology. Energy efficiency, heightened security, and improved quality of life are all attainable through the automation of home systems. Intuitive and user-friendly control is our main priority in designing a system that meets your needs. Don't just take our word for it. You need to see it to believe it. Come visit us at our state-of-the-art showroom on University, just east of Jim and Nick's, across from AT&T, or visit aviqhsv.com.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
NFL playoff season is here, and the best place to catch all of the action, all the way up until the Super Bowl, is Humphrey's Bar and Grill. Don't miss Humphrey's game day football specials, $2.75 Miller Lite, Yingling, Coors Light Pints, $3.50 Yellowhammer Gold Pints, $4 Fireball, anytime football is on. And with live music every night, there is no better place to party downtown than Humphrey's Bar and Grill. Humphrey's, always a party, never a cover. Located online at humphreysdowntown.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details. Hi, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN. The Zone, Scott Tyson, DeArmond hanging out with you until 9 a.m. 256-576-4977. That's the number 2. The show, if you want to get in on this Tuesday morning. Plenty to get to, plenty to go over. The topic in that first segment there, Alabama looks to have interest in Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator for Washington, in becoming Alabama's offensive coordinator, so much so that they've interviewed Mr. Grubb for that position. 256-576-4977. If you want to join the program there.
Well, and the thing is, the only other buzz that we heard about the OC was that he met with a mystery candidate a couple weeks ago or whatnot before. I don't know that it was an interview, just that he met with someone that was unnamed. Most of the buzz has come on the defensive side of the ball, and I think a lot of that, and it still circulates around Jeremy Pruitt and his future and what the NCAA is going to do, but there hadn't been a whole lot of buzz offensively until yesterday, and that was, and Travis Reier, give him credit, he was on our show and was talking about the article that they had pinned on BamaOnline.com, and Ryan Grubb was one of the names he mentioned, and he kind of hinted to us that was a name to watch. And shortly after we got off the air, Scott, that's when basically all the info started pouring out. The articles were coming out, and then you hear that Grubb was in the building, and then find out that he'd been there since Sunday. And been talking to Coach, so it's going to be interesting. February the 1st is tomorrow, the second signing period. But as we said, I don't anticipate Auburn signing anybody. I don't think Alabama is. They're supposed to have a gathering, as always, on Wednesday. I don't know, and a lot of times they introduce the coaches. Now, this is probably the first time in the 16 years that Coach Saban has been there that they don't have coordinators announced. So I don't know how many, if any, of the coaches will be introduced. I don't know if it'll just be a Nick Saban deal where he handles it himself. Going to be interesting because certainly he hasn't hired a DC to our knowledge. And, of course, Grubb has not been announced. So going to be interesting.
So you mentioned signing day.
Yep.
39 total 5-star recruits in this signing period. Okay,
Right.
22 of those 39 are headed to the SEC.
Not surprised.
15 of those 39 are headed to Alabama and Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
That leaves 17 headed to the Big 12, the Pac-12, the ACC, and the Big 10. The Big 12 is getting 7 total. The Pac-12 is getting 5 total. The ACC is getting 4, and the Big 10 is getting 1.
Yep.
Ohio State right now has that 1 5-star commitment. So that just tells you where we're at. But with 39 total, 22 headed to the SEC, that is pretty impressive.
Yeah,
the 39.
It just shows you why the SEC still has the best league. I mean, there'll be people argue with you that said the SEC was down this year, and it was, but it was still the best league.
Won the national championship. I mean, it's down, but as a league,
it was
yes.
It was 65-7.
But they won the national championship. So
I mean, so it was just as one-sided a beatdown as we've ever seen. So, yes, I mean, Ohio State had a chance to beat Georgia, but, so did Alabama the year before. Ohio State choked. They couldn't finish. Ryan Day, he's basically the Kyle Shanahan of college football. He can't finish in a big game. So that's just that's the track record that you have right now.
I mean, that's arguably true. He's had trouble beating Michigan.
Yeah, I was going to say he's got this 1 5-star, but he'll probably lose to Michigan for the 3rd straight year next year. Yeah. He's becoming John Cooper rapidly. Let's just be honest.
Really?
I mean, John Cooper, and John Cooper's from your era, growing up in the Big Ten. He stayed there a long time, and he had a terrible record against Michigan. I used to wonder. I guess it's because the climate's different now with all the
right.
money and the pressure. But I was surprised that he lasted as long as he did with the record he had against Michigan. I mean, and Lloyd Carr. I mean, he had a terrible. They had great talent then. I mean, they churned out the Dan Wilkinsons and the Andy Katz and Warriors and all that kind of stuff. They had all kind of talent. The Joey Galloways, but. They just and Troy Smiths. They had all kind of great players, but they just did not beat Michigan, and so it finally caught up to them, and they finally dismissed him. But it's going to be interesting, and I've never really been high on Ryan Day as a coach. I think he's a good offensive coordinator. I don't know that he's a great head coach though, so we'll see. And certainly, it's the pendulum has swung. It looks like Jim Harbaugh, even though there was a late report that he met with the Denver owner again, is more than likely going to stay at Michigan. And Michigan's got a really good team coming back. They're certainly going to be highly ranked. I'd be shocked if they're not in the top probably 3 in the country to start the year, especially with Blake Corum coming back and being healthy. So we'll see.
All right, Wolverine Dan with us this morning. Good morning, sir.
Well, fellas, first off, I agree, and anybody doesn't agree is out of their mind. SEC is definitely the best conference in America. There's just no doubt about it. It is what it is. I don't like saying it, but, I mean, I can't lie. I mean, I get struck by lightning or something. It is what it is. But I can't, I'll tell you the reason why I'm still happy about that, what I just said, is I believe overall record, ever since we started playing the SEC, I still think we have more wins than the SEC. Go way back. And that way at least I can say I have that and I feel better. But once you guys surpass us, which it won't be that long, and then I'm really going to say, okay, what do I do now? I got nothing to fall back on.
Well, I mean, I guess that's a way to look at it. And again, I think I would just be positive in saying that my team had made the playoffs the last 2 years, so that's something to be proud of. I mean, need to finish in the playoff, need to make the next step, get to the national championship game. I thought they were going to do that this year, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, Drew, there's always a silver lining to everything. You might have to really dig deep to get it, but you know what? It's worth the digging just to get a little taste of something. I mean, You think about it, really, the Michigan program, we're getting close to the only team hitting 1,000 wins as a program. So that's pretty impressive, and where he got the most wins of anybody. So, I mean, once we get to that milestone, nobody can take that away from us, is that we were the first ones to get to 1,000.
That's true.
So there you go. See, guys, you got to think of it that way, especially with you guys stumbling, jumbling, JoJo boy in Washington, D.C., that makes things miserable for people, because I think that's what he likes to do.
Yeah.
He's good at it.
But he does drive a nice Corvette. I got to give him that. I can at least give him that he could drive a nice Corvette. Beyond that, no. But anyway, fellas, it's been wonderful. I'm excited about next year. I'm glad Corb's coming back. We should be ranked. I don't want to be ranked too high. I want to start somewhere around 10 would be nice.
Well, you're going to be ranked higher than that, Dan. I mean, come on. With everybody you got coming back, come on.
Yeah, I know, Drew, but you know how it is with the team. If you don't have those high expectations, there's not a lot of pressure, then you start creeping up, and that's how you do it, right?
Yeah.
But it's been done the other way, too, with Georgia and Bama. They've been in the league for the whole season and ended by still winning the thing. So this is going to be interesting. I'm curious, especially the Georgia factor. I'm really curious. Is this really going to be the first team since Minnesota to three-peat? And what does that say to the Alabama program?
Well, there's going to be a lot of talk.
Yep.
Oh, exactly, and that's what I'm curious to see. So anyway, gentlemen,
thank you, Dan.
Wonderful talking to you.
Appreciate it.
So right now, the SEC, if I did this right, the SEC has 43 national championships in football. The Big Ten 41.
Yeah.
So it said going into the football season, the SEC had claimed 42 national titles. The Big Ten had claimed 41. Well, Georgia has got 40. Georgia gives us 43 now. The Big Ten has 41. All right. Let's see here. What do we got? Strawberry. All right. Let's get to one more. Well, real fast. Strawberry is with us. Good morning, Strawberry.
How you doing? We got you?
Yeah, hey.
What's up?
No, I was just calling in. I was listening to Wolverine Dan reminisce over the past. I'm a Tennessee fan, so if we want to talk like past, General Nealon was a great coach.
He was.
Just did a ton of stuff.
I mean, that's one dude that Coach Bryant couldn't beat. That's for sure. Of course, he wasn't at Alabama really at the time. He was at Kentucky, but Nealon he owned college football at that time.
Well, if you're resting on like the Big Ten's past or Michigan's past, that's cool. And yeah, they didn't make the playoffs, but they got beat by a team that Georgia just completely smoked, which I know you can't make the comparison 100%. But
no, I agreed.
Big Ten, they're still fairly irrelevant. And I know that everybody's talked down about the SEC, but like y'all said earlier, Georgia won the national championship. Alabama handled their business. Tennessee handled their business. Some of the lower teams that have, people were disappointed in Ole Miss. Ole Miss has never have they ever even played in the SEC championship game?
They have not. Them or Texas A&M.
Yeah, no, yeah.
that.
Well, Texas A&M's trash and is going to continue to be trash. But, yeah, no. I mean, I don't think the SEC was even as down as people thought. I think that mentality came from Alabama losing 2 games.
Well, you may be right about that.
Yeah, I think Alabama looking a little bit vulnerable made the nation and SEC fans feel like it was down.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, I'll probably make Jeff mad, but Kentucky was disappointing. I mean, I thought they would be a little bit better.
Strawberry, thanks for the phone call too, bud.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I thought they would be a little bit better too. All right, we got to get a break in. When we come back, bring in our first guest of the morning. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dresman. We're going to be talking about off and on showers through a good majority of the afternoon, even as we head into the evening. Temperatures only climbing into the mid-40s, dropping into the mid and upper 30s as we head into the overnight. Rain is going to continue across the Tennessee Valley as we head into the Wednesday morning commute and then through Wednesday afternoon. Obviously, we're not talking about much in the way of any sunshine. Once again, temperatures only climbing into the mid-40s, dropping into the upper 30s, lower 40s through the overnight. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dresman on your home for ESPN Radio 97.
HPD still has the number 1 and number 2 lanes on 565 westbound blocked between the Sparkman overpass and the Old Madison Pike overpass. They're pushing all the traffic over to lane 4. Some traffic exiting off on the ramp there at Old Madison Pike, staying on the elevated stretch and then coming back down on 565 on the other side of the wreck. And we got a wreck at Bob Wade in Mount Lebanon that was reported as an injury type, working to clear it. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
By now, we all know about the opioid crisis in America, but did you know there is another answer to pain management? CBD oil. And not all CBD oil is the same. The CBD formula provided by Physician's Choice is safe, legal, and most of all, effective. And we have a special offer. Visit PCCBD.com today, and at checkout, use the coupon code BAMA for 20% off your entire purchase. That's PCCBD.com, coupon code BAMA, and get the relief you deserve now. By now, we all know about the opioid crisis in America, but did you know there is another answer to pain management? CBD oil. And not all CBD oil is the same. The CBD formula provided by Physician's Choice is safe, legal, and most of all, effective. And we have a special offer. Visit PCCBD.com today, and at checkout, use the coupon code BAMA for 20% off your entire purchase. That's PCCBD.com, coupon code BAMA, and get the relief you deserve now.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. 7:33 on a Tuesday morning. Welcome back in. A little wet out there. Be safe.
Yep.
Safe travels into work, into school, wherever you may be headed on said Tuesday morning. And coming up later in the show, we're going to talk some Super Bowl. And we got some other basketball previews to get to because Alabama back in action tonight. Of course, 97.7 ESPN The Zone, your official home for that game tonight with Vanderbilt. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But we'll stay on the college football conversation.
Yeah, we will. And, of course, this is a first-time guest on the show now. He's, had me on his show, and he's the executive producer for the Chuck Oliver Show that you can hear here live each and every day from 10 to noon on ESPN 97.7 The Zone. And also, he frequently sits in for the great Chuck Oliver. He's the executive producer for said show. He also contributes to 680 The Fan, as we know, and also 11 Alive Sports. And I always love Whataburger aficionados. I'm one myself. But Dan Matthews is joining us to talk some college football right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Dan, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How you guys doing?
We are good. You're with Drew and Scott here in Huntsville. And Dan, interesting. I know you guys, I'm sure it was a topic yesterday on the Chuck Oliver Show with Ryan Grubb being a candidate at Alabama. Of course, I've followed these searches many times. I've been on your show talking about it. It's never the first guy or two that you see. It's always somebody with underlying connections or someone that Nick Saban's had on his radar. Your thoughts on Ryan Grubb and what he did for Kalen DeBoer, kind of under the radar since it's out there on the West Coast, but Washington was quite a turnaround last year.
No, they absolutely were. I mean, that was a program that had a chance to get into the Pac-12 championship game and be able to maybe even play their way into a New Year's Six bowl game after, I mean, I don't even remember what they were the year before. The program was in pretty dire straits. But the first thing you said, though, is correct. I mean, I usually, whenever it's the first name, I don't buy it. I mean, you know, we even yesterday, I know you asked me about Ryan Grubb and the offense, but defensively, you know, you see the report, and I'm not discrediting the veracity of the report. I also just know how these things go, and I'm talking about Todd Grantham. I don't in any way believe that Todd Grantham is a candidate for the DC job, but what I do believe is what happens during these things. Agents get out there and start talking. Who knows? Maybe Grubb's agent is out there trying to get more money from Washington to keep him. That happens too. You know, I mean, that's another thing that's at play here as well. Is whenever we hear coaches' names out there, it's for good reason. It's for them to get a job. As in, you know, Grantham's case, I think that he wants to get back on the field and he wants to coach. And where's the hiring cycle happening right now? It's in the NFL. So, you know, is there a team that could look to him as a defensive line coach or something of that sort? You know, and his name is out there, and you know, the thought is, we better move fast if we want to try to get him before, you know, maybe he gets a job at Alabama. But for Grubb, I mean, you know, I know a lot of people, you know, I saw Shannon Terry from Bama Insider yesterday throwing out that, you know, the work that he did with Michael Penix Jr. and the offense just in general, which was a better running offense, I think, than people gave him credit for. And when we had Clint Lamb on last week, who's been all over for Bama Insider, he pointed out that he wouldn't be surprised if the choice is somebody that probably gets them back to a little bit more of a running attack, at least the balance back to that, because we always hear that whenever Nick Saban talks about offense, and I got to believe that's going to be the type of coach that's going to fit into that category.
Alabama fans want this sewed up pretty fast. I mean, they're just wanting this done. And is there a hurry for Nick Saban? I mean, is there a hurry to get somebody in this office, or, I mean, can he just take his time right now and really evaluate who he wants?
I'm sorry, you broke up there. I couldn't hear.
Yeah, is this a hire that Nick Saban – I mean, Alabama fans want this done now. I mean, they wanted it done yesterday. Is there a time frame for Nick Saban to do this, or can he just sit back and take his time in doing this?
I mean, I would assume he wants it done before spring. But, I mean, as we've seen him before, I mean, I'm trying to remember what hire he was making at the Senior Bowl in 2015. And I remembered he had said, no, we're going to get through signing day first, and then we'll concern ourselves with that. I mean, the good news is with the December signing day is that it's already done. I mean, you know, the lion's share of the guys that Alabama's going to get are within the program now. You know, I mean, the only people that would maybe be outliers is the transfer portal. And then, you know, I don't even know. I mean, Drew could probably tell us a little bit better if they're really even in on any late additions on Wednesday, but I mean that's the other part of it as well. Is that you know, I mean that's the other part of it as well, is that there's nobody to necessarily you have to try to, you know, impress out there to say, hey, this is going to be your new OC, this is going to be your new DC. So I mean, I would say that probably that gives Nick Saban a little bit more of a runway, but you know, I think as he's proven in the past, he'll take his time in order to get the right guy.
He will, and I mean, this is a little bit different, Dan. I mean, as I said earlier before you came on, this is his 16th year and going into year 17, and this is probably the first time that he doesn't have the entire coaching staff in place for a Wednesday signing date. But you made a great point, and I'll just tell you, they're not going to sign anybody tomorrow. They have had a couple of transfer portal additions, but I don't think they're as focused on that. As you and Chuck, I'm sure, have discussed, intimately. Now with this new calendar, and that's not been played up enough with the portal windows. One portal window is closed. The next one won't open again until after spring practice. And so I just think with Coach Saban this time, certainly it's crucial. This will be the third reset, as I've said on your show. He wants to get these hires right. And certainly, I don't really think there's a huge rush or a timetable as long as you get them in place for spring practice. I mean, there is a signing day function happening to announce the class, quote unquote, to some Alabama supporters tomorrow. But that's a yearly thing, and they announced it on social media in December. But this is more of an intimate thing. But again, when you look at it, I know what people are wondering. Well, usually the coaching staff is there. This may be a little bit different, and the climate is changing. It's just a different deal, a different calendar, and it's kind of like and since NIL has been instituted, they call it a different world, and that's what it is. And it's interesting because so many schools have undergone so much change. I wanted to ask you, what is your take? We just had a caller call in. We were just kind of talking about the SEC. Even though it was slightly down this year, I still think it was the strongest league in the country. In your mind, where does the SEC stand right now?
No, I mean it's as strong as it's been in years, and I mean I think the huge help to that is, the flagship organizations that are within the league. I mean, Georgia is strong. Alabama, despite what some might say, is still very strong. LSU, having the year that they did last year, was incredibly great for the league, and then same with Tennessee as well. Despite what some people want to see or hear from Tennessee fans, if Tennessee is good, it's good for the rest of the league, just because they're one of the more popular programs in athletic departments in the league. So, I think it is still incredibly strong. I mean, people trying to say that the Big Ten is, right at their doorstep. I mean, outside of, Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State, who really do you say that about? I mean, do you really think that if if Minnesota was in the SEC, that they would be very successful? If Purdue or anybody like that, I mean, Purdue just had 60+ put on them in a bowl game, and I understand that they missed a lot of different players, but no, I mean the numbers back it out. And look, here's the other thing as well. Is you bring this up to the SEC detractors out there, you don't need to go much further than seeing the NFL draft. This is going to be another NFL draft that the SEC runs away with having the most players taken. And, some people can say, well, that doesn't necessarily say a lot. Well, what else does it say? The fact that your conference is putting out the most pro players, I think that would say that you're a pretty strong league. If you've got guys playing against other future pro guys, that probably shows strength. So, no, I don't think that there's any, quote-unquote demise with the SEC or anybody else is necessarily gaining on them. I mean, the SEC championship game just showed you, not only that, just the way that Georgia played, but then the national championship game showed you, just how strong this league is, because strength up front showed you that was a massive difference against TCU that they just were not able to answer the call against Georgia on.
Yeah, and speaking of Georgia, I mean, they're an intriguing team coming back this next year. I mean, obviously a different quarterback similar to Alabama, but they got a lot of pieces in there, and really we should not expect much of a drop-off from the top-heavy SEC teams, Alabama, Georgia. We'll find out if Tennessee has sustainability.
Yeah, I mean, that's the number one thing. And, last week I talked about that very thing with Tennessee on the show was you got to do it again. I mean, having one really good 11-2 season is nice, but, let's talk about other programs that have done the same thing. A&M. I mean, they did that in 2020, at least for the number of games that they played. They made a New Year's Six bowl game. They had a nice enough season. And then the following year, aside from the Alabama win, they had a pretty disappointing season. And then last season was incredibly disappointing. So that's the charge for Josh Heupel in his program, is he's got to be able to prove this is not a one-off thing. This is a program that is building depth. This is a program that is building a consistent winner. And this is a program that's going to compete not only in the SEC East, but for a chance to get to Atlanta, which, of course, if you win the SEC East, you get that opportunity. With Georgia, I would say the biggest thing is, can you fight off the complacency? Mm-hmm. And Kirby Smart talked about that immediately after they won the national championship game. I mean, of course, what's the question you're asked when you win back-to-back? I mean, you guys were around when Alabama did it in 2011 and 2012. I guarantee you that after that BCS title game win against Notre Dame, that Nick Saban had to answer the same question. And to a certain point, they were able to in 2013. They went 11-1 in the regular season, and then, of course, lost that disappointing game in the Sugar Bowl to Oklahoma. And remember, after that, Nick Saban had talked about, hey, there were guys kind of looking elsewhere, before that game. We didn't necessarily have a full buy-in for that one because we had guys who were starting to look to their NFL draft stock and everything else, and not necessarily fully bought into finishing the season on a strong note. But in this case for Georgia, I mean, that's going to be the biggest thing. And he pointed to the leadership. He said that there were two things that really helped us this year. The leadership of telling guys, hey, 2021 was not you. 2021 was them. You got to be you. And the other part of it as well is he said we had enough losses on this team, especially defensively, in order to keep guys hungry to get them ready. They're not going to have that as much this year. They've got the majority of their team coming back on both sides of the ball, minus a handful of guys. I mean, you're probably going to have 6 or 7 guys in the NFL drafts, but, aside from that, you've still got a strong crew coming back. So that's going to be the biggest challenge. The schedule will not be hard. They've got that going for them. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, though, too, I mean, we've seen teams with tons of talent who bought into themselves a little bit more than probably they should, and the results were disappointing.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because he was defensive coordinator back in 2013 when Alabama was going for a three-peat. And, Alabama did get to the Auburn game undefeated, but we know it was the kick six. So he's been through it before, and it's going to be really interesting to see how he attacks it as a head coach. One of the interesting storylines of the offseason and, of course, the quarterback battle. Well, Dan, we appreciate it. We know you're going to have a busy morning. You guys are going to have another great lineup for the Chuck Oliver Show. We appreciate you for joining us and let everybody know how to connect with you guys.
Yeah, appreciate that. The Chuck Oliver Show, at Chuck Oliver Show, is how you can find us on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at Dan Matthews, ATL, as well as Chuck at King CFB. And 11-1 Eastern, we are live every single day, but we are 24 hours a day on the Southern Sports Today app. So go check us out there. We appreciate everybody out there who listens.
Absolutely, we appreciate you. Thank you, Dan.
All right, take care, guys.
Let's get a break in. When we come back, wrap up Hour 1, Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
They are still pushing all the westbound traffic over to the 2 right lanes. The number 1 and number 2 lanes are closed between the Old Madison Pike overpass and the Sparkman overpass. Had a big backup there. That traffic's been backed all the way back up into the downtown area. Had one other wreck, Bob Wade in Mount Lebanon, that reported with an injury. Still may be trying to get it clear. Are you over 35 and overweight? 7 different hormones can make it impossible for you to lose weight. Find out with a free quiz at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Welcome back. Stan McDonald from the Stanton Law Firm. I had lunch with Lewis just recently and with a client of ours, a mutual client, and great to hear all the good things going on at the Stanton Law Firm.
Thank you, Wes. The Stanton Law Firm, as you know, we've discussed before, we're dirt lawyers. We do a lot of real estate, litigation and closing. And yes, my son Lewis McDonald enjoyed meeting you a couple of weeks ago, and a couple of your friends. He is, as you know, he's opened up a commercial closing division. So he's really helping a lot of people who are trying to close, buy, or sell on their commercial property. And you can't be in this community doing business without knowing Wes neighbors.
I don't know about that, but sure was getting to meet another McDonald and talking a little bit about his grandfather, Coach Dye, and the different things. It was a lot of fun.
Well, your listeners are really going to enjoy meeting Lewis and you in this community. And like I said, at Jacob Title or the Stanton Law Firm, we close business. We close some good commercial closings, residential closings. We appreciate being part of your show.
Hello, listeners. My name is Jonathan Dunwoody, and I own Minuteman Press. We are a full-service print shop that is locally owned and operated. I have personally been handling direct mail for over 17 years and have a great relationship with the USPS. We are the only print shop in the area that is listed as a print provider on their website and the only printing franchise that can use their logo as our partner on marketing materials. We can help from conception to design, print, and delivery to the post office. And with our easy, secure online payment option, you don't even need to leave your office. Minuteman Press, we're not just putting ink on paper, we're building relationships.
Two Maids and a Mop. That's all you need to know to clean house. Two Maids and a Mop is an award-winning company, bonded and insured. Hire them for yourself, or they have gift cards if you want to make someone else's day. Find out more online at twomaidshuntsville.com. A maid service worth talking about. Two Maids and a Mop take care of everything. They supply all the cleaning equipment needed. Call 256-883-6243. The only finger you'll need to lift is the one to call them.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner of University Kia, letting you know we are proud supporters of Crimson Tide football. Stop into University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including the all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com for all our great offers. And get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see you in a Kia. Roll Tide!
Hi, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. And coming up in 2 weeks, you get the Super Bowl in Arizona. Glendale, Arizona, to be exact. And we've mentioned on the show that if you want to get a hotel room or a, Verbo, it's going to cost you.
What is a Verbo, by the way? People start
vacation rental by owner.
Okay,
VRBO. Verbo.
I've just started hearing this term in the last few months, so I didn't know what the heck a Verbo was. So I just thought
it's a website. VRBO, okay. Vacation rental by owner.
Yeah, so they it's all.
So when we've gone on our trips and stuff, that's how Wes
this is
has
like a
gotten us
community
our
site now, kind of where they'll put verbos from wherever. Okay, the closest verbo to you is X, Y.
Well, no, so
right?
like if you are,
I'm just asking.
Like when we went to Indianapolis,
yeah.
the house that we got was you just go online instead of going and getting a hotel, you can just do a house. That's vrbo.com. You just go get a house.
Yeah.
So
they're posted all over the United States.
Yes. So it's all over.
Right.
Basically, you put in when you want to go, where you want to go, the dates and all that stuff, and it'll show you the houses that are available and the prices and everything.
Gotcha.
So that's expensive. But how about the tickets?
Oh, Lord.
Do you dare to take a guess on how the right now, how much it would cost you to get one ticket
to the Super Bowl?
To the Super Bowl. Probably one of the cheapest tickets to the Super Bowl.
$3,500.
No. $4,824.
I'll pass.
To get into the Super Bowl. That's going to get you, and if you've never been into the Toaster or whatever in Glendale.
Yeah, Glendale, yeah.
I mean, that's way up there. Way up there. In section 400, and if you wanted, it's calling.
In other words, all these tickets are for highfalutin people unless you're hooked up with the NFL and they give them to you for free.
$6,480 to sit in the nosebleed seats there for this game. Now, if you wanted some of the prime seats, okay?
Oh, this is
section
great.
109. You're going to spend anywhere between $13,000 to $29,000 to go see the Super Bowl.
No, sorry. I'll just watch it on television with hot wings and food and stuff like that. I really don't need to go.
In the comfort of your own house.
I don't need to go. I don't need to go to a national championship game with Alabama playing for prices like that. If I had a credential, that's great. Otherwise, or a very, generous, owner. But other than that, I'm just, no, I'm good.
You can sit in the club section for $22,500 per ticket.
Like I'm saying, man, this is for people that are just like LaDum James and people like that, where that's just like a drop in the bucket. Where
used to be, you could get online and get a Super Bowl ticket and go watch the game for $500. It was pretty cool.
My goodness, I mean, back in the day when they first started it, they didn't even sell it out. They were giving away tickets.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard people tell stories about that stuff. I'm like, wow, if you just kept the ticket, you know how much it'd be worth. But people it wasn't even getting sold out. I mean, And now it's just for the elite of the elite, man. I mean, who can pay $22,000 and not even blink at it? I mean, that's just the way it is. Or you saw it both the AFC and NFC championship games, folks that have gone through trials and tribulations being given, 2 to 4 tickets to the Super Bowl. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's just for that kind of thing.
I mean, with fees and everything, for just 2 tickets at $5,000, I mean, you're looking at almost close to $11,000 to sit in the nosebleeds to go watch the Super Bowl.
Do they sell tickets to like the general public, or does it just all go to like corporate people?
I don't know. I'm wondering if you're a season ticket holder,
right, of one of the teams that makes it.
Yeah, you get a choice to buy a Super Bowl ticket
for $7,500.
I know a lot of it is corporate. I know probably over half of it is corporate.
Yeah,
that is one good thing about the College Football National Championship game.
Yeah,
is that fans of the school get a chance to buy tickets.
Well, they have to
go to the national championship.
Well, think about this: when they're expanding the playoff, they're trying to sell tickets to these games. They want you to attend the game, not just watch it. The Super Bowl, I don't think the NFL cares. They're swimming in money. They know it's going to be on television, and they know enough highfalutin idiots like LeBron James will go to the game.
By the way, he's going to be the all-time leading scorer in the NBA here very soon.
Yeah,
we're going to have to mention this.
Michael Jordan ripped his throat out and pissed down his neck.
Hour 2 coming up next.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. The best way to start betting smarter is to sign up for a free VSiN subscription at vsin.com/subscribe.
NBA tonight, 5 games scheduled. The Heat, a 5-point underdog on the road against the Cavs, 209.5 the total. The Knicks -2 at home against the Lakers, the over-under 237.5. The Hornets +12 at the Bucks, the total 239. The Clippers in Chicago against the Bulls, LA -3 on the road, 230 the over-under. And the Pelicans +7.5 at the Nuggets, New Orleans trying to snap an 8-game skid. The first half of the NBA season just about over with the All-Star break only a few weeks away. Right now, the Celtics the favorite to win an NBA title at +180, followed by the Nets at +325, the Bucks at +350.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone with Drew DeArmond. We're hanging out with you until 9. One more hour to go, and we will have everything for you coming up here in this next hour. To recap hour 1 real fast in case you missed any of the show,
right?
Or if you are just joining us, which a lot of you do on your way to work each morning. Ryan Grubb, a leading candidate, I don't want to say leading candidate, a candidate for the Alabama offensive coordinator position. He is currently the offensive coordinator at the University of Washington for the Huskies. Great turnaround there for the Washington offense. And there was reports out there that Todd Grantham a viable candidate for the defensive coordinator position?
I mean, I guess you'd have to say he could be because of his experience, and he has an extensive history with Nick Saban going all the way back to the Cleveland Browns. Do I think Todd Grantham is going to be the defensive coordinator? As you heard Dan Matthews, the executive producer of the Chuck Oliver Show, and a guy that sits in for Chuck and hosts the show quite a bit, I don't think so. I think that's probably been vetted. But I still think the reason that they're taking their time with this process, and that was a big part of our topic of conversation with Dan, is, Jeremy Pruitt is still a guy of extreme interest. We'll see. They're waiting to kind of waiting out the NCAA and the findings for Tennessee. But you've heard Chris Lowe say that he thought it was going to be difficult for anyone, not just Alabama, to hire Jeremy Pruitt due to the ongoing NCAA investigation. But, I still think Alabama is looking into all that.
Right.
I still think they're taking their time. Todd Grantham, my theory has always been if you're going to hire Todd Grantham, you could have already done so. There's many defensive coordinator candidates out there that you could hire. Now, do I think it's going to be Glenn Schumann? No, because I think Glenn Schumann is going to get a raise and maybe even more on his plate at Georgia. Certainly, I know he would have been of interest to Nick Saban as well, but I don't see that happening. We'll see. I find it interesting that Jim Leonard hasn't landed anywhere from the standpoint of either in college or especially the National Football League. But really, when you look at it, we saw he wasn't even available for 24 hours. But Kellen Moore, he's let go by the Cowboys, immediately hired by the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah,
that merry-go-round is still going, and there's still head coaches to be hired.
Yeah, that one there. As fast as that one happened. As fast as that one happened there with Kellen Moore, that was you could see that one coming.
Well, and you could see that
one was
that
already,
Mike McCarthy wants to run his own show again, which is what he always did in Green Bay. He wants to call the plays. That's fine. He gets a chance to do that. And then, when you look at it, where's Sean Payton going to land? Some people think Denver is a spot where he could end up, applying his trade. Now, there would have to be a trade worked out because he's still under contract with New Orleans.
First-round draft pick is what they're saying.
Right.
Sean Payton, the compensation plus cash, a first-round draft pick for Sean Payton still.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, and, DeMeco Ryans, I know as soon as they lost, to the Eagles. It was reported he was the leading candidate for the Houston Texans. So we'll see if that gets done in the coming days. So.
All right, so there you go. That's your Alabama coordinator update. We've talked a lot about that in hour number 1. Coming up tonight, right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone, Alabama basketball back in action, and have the Tide learned from their loss at Oklahoma?
First 2/3 of the season, have you seen him progress and evolve his own game?
Yeah, I think we don't play hard and we don't.
There we go.
Stay. I mean, to start the first half, we had to come from behind, large margin in that game. I was thinking we'd be mature enough to learn after a win, but obviously we weren't. So the loss happened. Now hopefully we learn, because we're a really good team when we play hard. But when we don't play hard and we don't shut other teams down, I mean, our defense has been our calling card. We're not playing hard. Your defense isn't very good. So, I think the wake-up call was received.
Nate Oates waking up the Tide tonight, 7:30 at home against Vanderbilt.
Certainly we'll see. I mean, Vanderbilt pushed them in Nashville, and Vanderbilt, lost the game 78-66. Alabama was able to pull away late, but certainly Vandy was down, I think, 53-30 at one time by 23, but they came back and cut it under 10. Got it within 6, I think, in the last couple of minutes, but Alabama ran it back out to double digits, ended up winning the game impressively. But, again, it's going to be interesting to see how Alabama bounces back from adversity. The one thing that you can say is it was, of course, a terrible performance in Norman, but it didn't affect their SEC standing at all. They are the top team in the SEC right now. They've got 2 teams on their breathing down their neck. The Tennessee Vols, who went up to number 2, as I figured they very well might, behind Purdue. And then they've also got Texas A&M quietly at 7-1 with Buzz Williams and those guys just lurking. So it's definitely not a runaway for Alabama if they want to win the SEC and get the number 1 seed and have a chance for a number 1 seed March. They only fell to, even though they lost by 24 points, I thought it was interesting. They only fell to 4th in the country. They're still in the top 4. So I think a lot of people are waiting to see how they react to adversity, because this was the first time they got really whipped. I mean, UConn handled them pretty good, but see, the thing is, in between the UConn loss, they beat Michigan State, who I still think is an NCAA tournament team, and then they beat North Carolina. Right. And nobody was expecting them to win 2 out of 3 of those games. So that's what everybody's kind of wondering now. This was the first time that they lost as the hunted, because nobody really thought because again, that was before they played Houston too, and then they went to Houston and won, and then that's where the alarms went off. Like whoa!
Well, yeah, because
this team
Houston
may be
was
better.
Number one,
yeah.
Alabama was, this team doesn't play well. Sometimes on the road, Houston's going to be awfully tough at home.
And they were down by 16 or 17 to Houston. Right. It looked like they were going to get blown out, but they responded and came back and won, and that's what kind of sent. Some shockwaves through everyone.
All right. So how good has Brandon Miller been for the Tide? Well, he's averaging 19 points a game, the most by any freshman in the country.
Yeah.
That's 39th overall in the entire country. He's shooting 44% from three-point range, which is 12th best in all of Division I. He's the only freshman in the country to rank in the top 75 in points and rebounds per game. And he's the only player in Division I to score 400 points, record 170 rebounds, and make 65 three-pointers this season. That's Brandon Miller in a nutshell right there. Jeff from the Borough with us real fast. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Jeff.
How's it going, guys?
Good.
I just one thing I was going to say something about what I watched it last night. But I know y'all know Chandler Tiger. He left Blackman after he took the job at Cleveland High School every time.
Yes, he did. I saw that over the weekend.
Yeah, I saw where he left. He's bounced around in his career for sure. He's coming back to the state of Alabama.
Yeah, he went out Cleveland, Tennessee, or Chattanooga.
So that it's not Cleveland.
No, it's Cleveland, Tennessee.
Tennessee. It's still in Tennessee. My bad. Okay.
Yes, near Chattanooga.
Gotcha.
Down there. But no, I just want to ask you guys, did you guys get a chance to watch the Southern Hoops last night?
No. I was at a high school basketball game. I wasn't able to watch it last night, Jeff.
It was pretty interesting. I hadn't really wound up go back and watch it more in depth, but there was things about they had about Coach Rupp and a little bit about Summit, not a lot, but Trevor, Kentucky, but had a lot of things that I didn't know about Coach Rupp, about how he was brought up and different things. And he had a black player. He was a high school coach before he got the Kentucky job, and he had a black player on his team and things of that nature, just different things. And when he visited Lexington, what he thought of it, and then they said he had another job. He got a college, teaching degree or something. His Kentucky job didn't work out, and just different stuff about his life that I didn't know was really interesting. But I'm not sure how many parts it's going to be. I think it's going to be every Monday for the next, couple months or so, or whatever. So I don't know. I know they're going to get different aspects of the league and history and all that stuff. So it'll be interesting for people to watch. But enjoy the show, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Jeff. All right, Brandon now with us. Good morning, Brandon.
What's up, Fritter?
Well, Amanda was sending me pictures of the fritters on there, so I posted one on Twitter. She had a whole sheet of them.
I didn't get that one. I didn't get it, but I'll tell you what. I will say this: I can vouch for how good the fritters are. I'll say that.
We know that.
She said y'all need to try one day when they pull them hot off the pan.
Oh, that's
kind of like Krispy Kreme donuts.
There we go.
Y'all were talking a minute ago about the trade for Sean Payton.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know that a first rounder is bad because in 2001, when the Raiders let Gruden go to the Buccaneers, Oakland got a first round, a second round pick in the 2002 draft. They got a first round pick in the 2003 and a second round pick in the 2004.
Yeah, they may get more. I mean, I think just the first rounders is a starting point. I am sure Sean Payton will come with more. But my question is, if you are Denver, are you ready to win right now? Are you built to win right now if you get a Sean Payton as a head coach? There's a lot of needs to me on that Denver program, or that Denver team, not a program. They're not college. But are you built to win right now, and are you ready to give away draft picks, and do you have enough guys to do that?
Not. I think for one first-round pick, maybe. The dummy that made this trade was Rich McKay, and we know who he works for. That for John Gruden was way too much.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Doc Rivers went from the Celtics to the Clippers for a first-rounder. So, I mean, I don't think that's that high of a price, but you're going to have the man at the trigger to get it done. And I think that's kind of a value at one first-round pick.
So what I can find out is on the Sean Payton front is that they want 2 first-round draft picks for Sean Payton. 2 first-round draft picks in return for Sean Payton.
The Saints have all the leverage. I mean, they have Dennis Allen still as their head coach. They didn't have a good year. Payton decided to take a sabbatical from coaching. I think they would take him back in a nanosecond, but maybe without Drew Brees and without with the way the roster is constituted right now, even though they'd have a higher draft pick, then maybe that Payton would like to restart somewhere else. I mean, they're also mentioning him in Houston, but I still think DeMeco Ryans is probably the favorite there. But Houston does have the number 2 pick overall in the draft. Does Sean Payton want to coach Bryce Young? We don't know. I mean, is that part of his motivation? Certainly in Denver you have Russell Wilson, and where does he think Russell Wilson is in his career? I mean, certainly they're paying him a lot of money as far as Russ to get, and then so in that roster, most people think it underperformed this year. That there's more talent there that should have been better, but who knows? It's going to be really interesting to see if Sean Payton ultimately goes back to Fox and continues to do the TV thing, or if he finds the right fit, and if you can come to an agreement. What Brandon's saying, are you going to pay the price that and what you were talking about, Scott? 2 first-rounders, that's a lot for a head coach.
Yep.
That can break a franchise. I mean, if I've got the 30th pick, maybe.
Yeah.
But anything inside the top 15, no chance.
Yep.
Especially not a top 10 pick. I mean, missing on a pick like that gets people fired and sets franchises back. And that basketball arena that Drew posted a video of last night, that's a nice place. I mean, that makes Shorter look like more of a trash can than it already is. I mean,
you got to see Short, yeah. All right, Brandon, thanks for the phone call, but we are up against a break. When we get back, we'll talk more about that. We'll talk more about Joel Klatt weighs in on something.
Yeah.
We'll let him explain it when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
They are still pushing all the traffic over to the two right lanes. Westbound on 565, there's 2 wrecks. It may actually be 3 wrecks, but there's at least 2 in there between the Sparkman overpass and the Old Madison Pike overpass. So they've been moving all the traffic over to the right. A lot of folks are exiting off at the Sparkman exit, running the elevated stretch and coming back down on the other side to 565 westbound. Also had a wreck out at Bob Wade in Mount Lebanon. That one had an injury, but it should be clearing. Dr. Sandman has the Somnodent, a safe, insurance-approved alternative for snoring and sleep apnea. Dr. Randall Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
The new Cheeseburger Bobby's on Carl T. Jones Drive in South Huntsville is focused on serving great food prepared with the absolute freshest ingredients, featuring classic hamburgers and cheeseburgers with lots of specialty options, chicken and hot dogs, even turkey burgers and veggie burgers, along with fresh cut fries, onion rings, or coleslaw. Always fresh, never frozen, except for the frozen custard. This week, our zone deal is $50 worth of Cheeseburger Bobby's for half price, just $25. Get yours Friday at 97.7 ESPN.com.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
Hi, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to kickstart the new year with 0% interest. We've got financing as low as 0% APR for 36 months on 2022 and 2023 models of F-150, Explorer, Edge, and Escape. Plus, there's an extra $1,000 bonus cash on F-150 XLT. Come on in to Woody Anderson Ford today and choose from over 100 F-150s and nearly 50 Explorers. I bet you can find exactly what you're looking for. And we've also got longer-term financing as low as 4.9% for up to 72 months. It's available on 2022 F-150, Explorer, Edge, Escape, and Mustang. With your good credit, these offers are through Ford Motor Credit. Offers end January 31st. At Woody Anderson Ford, we'd be glad to walk you through the online ordering, too. Plus, you'll get $1,000 bonus cash. Come see us and let's get 2023 off to a great start. Woody Anderson Ford, Jordan at Sparkman. Hope to see you soon.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey Wes, our company Fleming Roofing and Restoration specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a 5th generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey Wes, we show up.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. we can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
Welcome back. Stan McDonald from the Stanton Law Firm. I had lunch with Lewis just recently and with a client of ours, a mutual client, and great to hear all the good things going on at the Stanton Law Firm.
Thank you, Wes. The Stanton Law Firm, as you know, we've discussed before, we're dirt lawyers. We do a lot of real estate, litigation and closing. And yes, my son Lewis McDonald enjoyed meeting you a couple of weeks ago, and a couple of your friends. He is, as you know, he's opened up a commercial closing division. So he's really helping a lot of people who are trying to close, buy, or sell on their commercial property. And you can't be in this community doing business without knowing Wes neighbors.
I don't know about that, but sure was getting to meet another McDonald and talking a little bit about his grandfather, Coach Dye, and right. The different things. It was a lot of fun.
Well, your listeners are really going to enjoy meeting Lewis and you in this community. And like I said, at Jacob Title or the Stanton Law Firm, we close business. We do some good commercial closings, residential closings. We appreciate being part of your show.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Thursday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3. 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. And welcome back into the show. And I mentioned Joel Klatt before.
Oh, boy.
So we were talking the Super Bowl, and we brought up this conversation a little bit ago. You know, it's Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts. Who actually claims Joe? I mean, who gets the right?
Well, you know, Joe did lose. I mean,
right.
But he is. I still think he's a legend, though.
So listen to just this take here from Joel Klatt.
Hurts is who he is now is because the only reason Jalen Hurts is who he is now is because he had the ability to transfer. All right, that's why I think it's somewhat comical that it's like Alabama's claiming Jalen Hurts. Listen, I get it. And I'm sure that he has a big place in his heart for Alabama. But he had to leave. Like this whole notion, I see Ohio State doing it with Joe Burrow and Alabama doing it with Jalen Hurts. It's like, listen, those guys had to leave, right? You can argue that they had the most success in college uniforms away from those schools, certainly in Burrow's case, and you can argue in Jalen Hurts' case. And so, like, it's hard for me when I see those teams try to claim. It's like, listen, you've got enough players to go ahead and like, hey, those are our guys. You know, hey, Bama and Ohio State. You don't get to claim Burrow and Jalen Hurts. You've got enough guys to claim. Let's be honest. These guys are for OU and for LSU.
We know exactly who he voted for. We know exactly. Because he's got to be a dumbass Democrat with that take. I mean, you just can't do that. We can't allow that. He's got a degree from Alabama, dunderbrain. And he's the all-time leading rushing quarterback in the history of Alabama football.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
He chose to stay and graduate and then transfer. He could have transferred and sat out a year, but he didn't. He chose to stay. So, of course, Alabama can claim Jalen Hurts, you buffoon. I mean, good grief. Lord. I mean, and he started for nearly 2 full seasons at Alabama. Burrow did not even start.
And he made this take a day ago. This isn't something he made a week ago or something. He made this a day ago.
But you got to remember who he works for, too. Colin Cowturd didn't even know that Burrow played at Ohio State. And he's interviewing Urban Meyer! It's out there. Urban had to stop him and say, well, he was a backup quarterback for me. Oh, he was? He was? They should have just fired his ass right then and there. They're paying this guy millions of dollars to know football, and the dumbass didn't even know Joe Burrow played at Ohio State. So how in the blue hell can you take anything either one of those dumb and dumber morons say seriously? Are you kidding me? I mean, what a take. You can't take. You don't have too many players. You can't claim them. You can't claim them. Shut up, Klatt. I mean, good grief. Good Lord, what a buffoon. Thank God he's on Fox and nobody watches it. Of course,
that's what I've been seeing. I'm pretty sure Jalen's been claiming Alabama.
Well, yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Like in every interview, I see him always wearing Alabama media, T-shirts, hats.
Klatt doesn't even want to talk about Alabama hardly, except to take shots at him. If he, if he had, any kind of vision or did any kind of research. And of course, look, I'll freely admit, I don't watch Big 12 football, but I don't want to throw up. I don't watch a ton of it. I watch some of it every now and then when I think it's relevant or I need something to watch. But 90% of the time, we're covering the SEC. We're watching the SEC. And I don't watch the Pac-12 much. I did tell you, I did catch a couple of Washington games. I do watch a little bit of it. But I don't pay as close attention as Klatt does. I mean, that's what he's paid to do. He's paid to, cover, the Big 12 and the Pac-12 and even the Big 10 for Fox, okay? So I don't watch as much of that. I freely admit it. This is the SEC down here. It is the best college football, so that's what we pay attention to for the most part. But again, it's just what I'm saying. Look, man, if you paid attention, there's that barbershop or whatnot that Nick Saban's got for the players, and they put it on Alabama.
Yeah. Oh, can't call it the barbershop, remember, because...
Oh, shut up. I know, it's another one of LeBron's Democratic... Never mind. Anyway, but there's a big picture of Jalen Hurts that he gave to Nick Saban that he autographed that's up in that barbershop.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, good grief.
Hey, Brent Drinkard, I'm going to say this over the air, and I'm hoping it's not true. Brent Drinkard sent us a Facebook message saying we're not coming through the radio.
Wow.
I checked the app. We're coming through the app, but are we coming through the airways? I guess we are. So if
the app's working,
I'm hoping we're hearing us. I'm sorry if we're having problems. I don't know how to even figure out if we're having. Okay.
It may just be having sometimes we have antenna issues.
I hate the fact because we got a good.
I want to give a shout out real quick because we had one of our listeners sent us a message, and we want to pay homage to him. We probably need to get him on the show to talk about his career, but it is the last day, from what we understand, at Decatur High School for the great Jerry Adcock.
Oh.
What a career he had in coaching. And teaching and helping young people.
Yeah.
He was always great to us. He went out a winner this year at Decatur, which is what we all were very thankful for. Our sport and our communities and high school athletics are better for it. We're all better people for having known him and for what he stood for. It's glad to have a Decatur helmet here with us.
Yeah,
today.
Every time you have a conversation with him, you feel better.
You are. He does it for the right reasons. He's mentored so many young people. He's mentored so many great coaches in our community that have gone on to do special things. And I also wanted to give another shout out to a coach that's been really good to us. He's going to be moving on to work for good friend Wade Waldrop at Hoover High School, but Chip English, moving on from Albertville High School, had a great run at Grissom, really revived that program. It was a tough sledding at Albertville. He's got a young family, growing kids, and has a chance to be a part of that powerhouse Hoover school system. Such a great athletics program at Hoover. So congratulations for joining that staff. Wade Waldrop certainly had a great first year at Hoover, reaching the state semifinals, and Chip English will certainly be an asset to that coaching staff, and we appreciate everything he did in the Huntsville City School system and at Albertville as well, and just wanted to give a shout-out to both those guys.
And think of this, in the Decatur Red Raider program, Since 1981, there's only been 2 head coaches.
Yeah.
Steve Rivers and Jerry Adcock.
Man.
2 coaches.
That's
since
some big
then.
shoes to fill, man.
That is.
And it just shows you they're patient, but wow. You know what I'm saying?
2 coaches.
Wow.
Since, I mean, if you want to even go back further, since 1967, they've only had 3 coaches.
Well, Shorty Ogle, right, too.
Earl Webb, Steve Rivers, and Jerry Adcock.
And don't even forget Shorty Ogle.
So he was there from 33 to 63. Yeah.
So
I mean, really,
this is like the Steelers. They
No,
don't
really,
change
you're
coaches.
absolutely correct.
They
on that
don't.
one.
They don't
Yes.
change coaches very often, man.
Yes,
and when
they
they do, they usually find the right guy.
All right, let's get a break in. Speaking of the right guy, he's won over 800 games, so he must be the right guy
And hey,
whenever
man,
he has a job.
if it's number 1 versus number 2 in 4A, and number 1 wins by 28, is that good?
I don't know.
I
don't know. It depends. If you ask Joel Klatt, he would say no.
No, he would say it's not fair. You should have given Chase McCarty to the other side so they could stay in the game.
You should have given the other team a power up so you get a 4-pointer.
We should have given him a couple players.
No, it's like that football league you were talking about, Banny.
Exactly.
Where you change teams every week, so they and then the fans call the plays. That's what they should have done.
Should have evened it out because everybody gets a trophy.
It's not fair.
Everybody gets a trophy.
Yeah.
You get a player. You get a player. Everybody gets a player. We get a break in when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dresman. We're going to be talking about off and on showers through a good majority of the afternoon, even as we head into the evening. Temperatures only climbing into the mid-40s, dropping into the mid and upper 30s as we head into the overnight. Rain is going to continue across the Tennessee Valley as we head into the Wednesday morning commute and then through Wednesday afternoon. Obviously, we're not talking about much in the way of any sunshine. Once again, temperatures only climbing into the mid-40s, dropping into the upper 30s, lower 40s through the overnight. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio 97.
Just got a new wreck in Decatur. This one's on the Kroger overpass northbound. That one's coming in as a no injury. And they're still pushing all the 565 westbound traffic over to the 2 right lanes. This is between the Sparkman and the Old Madison Pike overpasses. That traffic is backed up into the downtown area. Had 2, maybe 3 different wrecks in there. Don't think anybody went to the hospital. The one at Bob Wade in Mount Lebanon should be wrapped up now. Snelling can assist with direct hire needs for Huntsville or anywhere coast to coast. 256-382-4000 or huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
This is an Alabama legacy moment.
Former basketball player and Hall of Famer Charles Barkley is one of Alabama's most recognizable sports stars. Nicknamed the Round Mound of Rebound and Sir Charles, the Leeds native had a remarkable basketball career with the Auburn University Tigers before embarking on a career in the NBA. Barkley also played for the U.S. Olympic basketball team in the 1992 and 1996 Summer Games. Since his retirement in 2000, Barkley has carved out a niche as a basketball analyst, author, and commentator on political and social issues. Since 2001, Auburn University, the Philadelphia 76ers, and the Phoenix Suns have retired Barkley's number 34 jersey. In 2006, Barkley was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Sponsored by the Alabama Bicentennial Commission, the ABA, and this station.
The Drive.
You know, both those guys have done a good job in what we've asked them to do, and both of them have developed nicely, and both of them have consistently made plays.
Wes and Steve.
Their decision-making, their judgment, their ability not to force things and take what the defense gives and distribute the ball with good decision-making, down in, down out, is probably the only thing that's going to be any different about them, because it's not physical ability or talent. So it's intangibles, leadership, decision-making, judgment, and all those types of things. And, both guys have done a good job in that regard as well.
Listen to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton each weekday afternoon starting at 5. We are your home of ESPN Radio, 97.7 The Zone.
You know, this process is all about talking ball.
Listen to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond.
What did they want privacy for? To just start talking ball.
Every weekday morning, wake up with Scott and Drew. It's Talkin' Ball. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, and before the break, we were talking high school basketball, high school football, high school basketball. We talked some college basketball. We heard from Joel Klatt a little bit there with his good take on who should claim Alabama, Jalen Hurts or Oklahoma, and Joe Burrow, Ohio State or LSU. Now it's time to bring in our final guest of the morning.
Yes, it is. And they had a big-time showdown last night. It was great to be out there at West Morgan High School. It was actually my first time in their new facility. I think it's been just open a year or two, their new gym, their new school, Scott. They've built it over there. It's a really nice place out there at West Morgan. And it was the number 1 and number 2 teams in 4A basketball taking on each other. So that's what piqued my interest. I hadn't had a chance to see Westminster since the Huntsville City Classic. Had not seen West Morgan all year. West Morgan has a 4-year stalwart who starts for them, who's a really good basketball player who has meant a lot to their program. And of course we know Westminster led by one of the best players in our state and in the country, Chase McCarty, the son of Kelly McCarty. He had 20 points last night, did a really nice job, no question about it. And it was a really great defensive performance, though, by our next guest basketball team. And if you followed his career as we have, and you talked about it, Scott, already over 800 wins, and his teams are always ready to go at this time of year. Because he does a great job of preparing his squad, no doubt about it. But they held Carson Muse to 11 points last night. 3 of 12 shooting is what I had the chart at. And one of his guards, Eric Robinson, who's one of my favorite players. There's always guys you find and you watch who catch your eye during a season, who really you follow the rest of the year, that you think are about the right things. And certainly I think the senior Eric Robinson is one of those guys. And we're going to talk about that and talk some Westminster basketball with their next guest, and that is the head coach for his 10th season, and that's Ronnie Staples, trying to win his 3rd title with the Wildcats, and they're number 1 in the state right now. Coach, good morning. I think we lost Coach there for a second.
Yeah, we'll have to figure
we'll get him back on the phones here.
There we go. We're gonna get
Vandy
Coach
will
Ronnie
get Coach back
Stapler
on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline here. A little bit of issues with the phone there, but it's all good. We'll get Coach back on the line. But again, they played at a very high level. Scott, 55-27 win over at West Morgan last night. It was a big crowd. It had been a really close game the first time they played each other home at home, and Westminster won the game, I believe, by 3 the first time. So a big win last night, though. They're really rounding into form, and they're playing great basketball. And I think we do now have Ronnie Stapler on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Coach, welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
Yes, sir. We were just talking about your senior point guard, Coach, and he's a guy that really caught my eye around Christmas at the Huntsville City Classic right after Christmas, and I love what he's about. I love his grit. I love his toughness, and I mean, I know he was giving up some size last night, but you certainly put him on Carson Muse, a 4-year starter, a definite college player for West Morgan, a guy that's meant a lot to their program, and what a job he did last night holding that young man to 11 points on 3 of 12 shooting.
Well, Eric's sort of been like that for us for 3 years. He's an outstanding defender, and he takes on those challenges. Doesn't matter the size of the guy. And we tell Eric all the time he's worth about 18 points every night. He scores about 8 or 9, and then he cuts your best player in half about every night. So he's playing very, very good. He accepts those challenges and gets right into it and does whatever we need him to do.
He is about winning, and I love watching him fight through screens. I love watching him not be denied, and so much of defense is effort and intensity, Coach, and he sets the tone for your team on that side of the court.
Well, we talk to our guys all the time about defense and multiple efforts and offense and multiple actions, and Eric is very, very good at guarding on the ball. He's very, very good playing off the ball, and what sort of goes unnoticed as the kind of rebounder is he averages almost 5 rebounds a game from that position.
Coach, how's this team rounding into form down the area home stretch?
We're playing really well right now. Guys have done an unbelievable job the last 5 or 6 games of defending. And the one thing we're really doing now is sharing the basketball. The other night we had a game where we had 35 field goals and 26 assists.
Wow.
And when you start doing that, your team is playing well, and they're playing well together. And it doesn't matter who scores as long as we're on the big end of the score at the end of the game.
That's true, Coach, and we know what Chase means to your team. He had 20 last night to lead the way, but another one of your role guys that I was really impressed with, what he did on the glass, going to the offensive glass, rebounding the basketball, being efficient offensively. I really like what Tyler Ingles doing right now for you too, Coach. He and Eric are the ones, because I know Rickard is a really good young player, a sophomore that can score the ball. We know what Chase can do, the offers that he has, and what he means to the program. And then Eric is such a great defender, but it's about fitting the pieces together. And Jackson Hammond being healthy, I really like the way your guys are fitting together as one. It's kind of like a fist. You got to fit together. The parts have to fit. But I was really impressed with Ingles' game last night, Coach.
Well, Tyler's the last 7-8 games, Tyler has played really well. But what we have at that position, we have a two-headed deal right there with Tyler and Lawson Collier, who between the two of them, we're getting about 14, 15 points a night out of that position between the two guys, and about 7-8 rebounds out of that position. And that's both of them are starters. Lawson, we bring Lawson off the bench because he's such an energy guy, and he plays so hard and is a tough competitor. But Tyler has played extremely well the last 4 or 5 games. He's averaged about 8 or 9 points a game and about 5 or 6 rebounds a game during that stretch.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. And those two guys combined to go 7 of 9 from the floor last night. Coach, I know Sam Brown's got a good team at West Morgan. You guys had quite a battle over there on the Westminster campus just a few weeks ago. What was the difference last night in being able to – and what I always say is throw the first punch, and what I mean by that is this was a 16-4, 19-4 lead by the end of the first, into the second quarter. You guys really put the game away early.
Well, what we did the first time we played them, we didn't have a lot of film on them, didn't know much about them. All we had was their last year stuff and a couple of game film this year where people had zoned them. But what they did at our place, they came in and they made 12 threes. They were 12 of 22 from 3 and 5 of 17 from 2. And they had some guys make shots that weren't even on the scout report. So we were much more locked in last night defensively, and we knew that we had to take away their 3-point shooting to be successful over there. And I thought we did a really good job of taking Carson away, and then we did a really good job of scrambling and running to their shooters when they got open shots. And I don't recall very many open looks they got on the perimeter.
Mm-hmm. Well, now, Coach, you put your eyes and your sights on this area championship. Good news is you do get to enjoy the home court advantage for that.
Yes, we do. But we got a tough game tonight. Mars Hill is a very, very good team, and we struggle a little bit over there at their place with them, and sort of broke that game open late in the first half. But we have a chance to be very, very competitive in the area. We have Randolph, and then whoever wins that will play the winner of Catholic and West Limestone. But you know how important it is to host those things at home. Very few teams lose the area championship when they play at home, and we just want to keep doing what we're doing, keep defending, keep sharing the basketball, and all that stuff. Winning and losing will take care of itself if we do that.
Yeah, and I know Justin Taylor at West Limestone, he always seems to have his teams playing well this time of year. Coach, I know you've done this a long time. What's the formula? Every team's different every year, but what's the formula to get your team playing at peak efficiency this time of year going into postseason starting next week?
Well, the one thing for us is we spent a lot of time shooting a basketball in the last couple of weeks, and we spent about 60% of our practices on defense. And then the other thing we've done is we're a rested team now. We've cut our practice time back to about an hour and 15 minutes every day with practice, and we do very, very little contact stuff now, except a little bit of half court stuff. And because at this time of the year, you can't be beating each other to death and then suffer an injury that might derail your team and keep it from being its very best.
Mm-hmm. That's a extremely smart philosophy. I think I've heard Wimp Sanderson refer to that as he used to do that with his Alabama teams that always played so well in the SEC tournament. They would scale things back and then concentrate on the areas that they needed to improve, but then also, as you said, sharpen yourself defensively, because defense travels, defense and rebounding. And I thought certainly you guys, the offense came around last night, but defense and rebounding were the keys in order to beat a really good West Morgan team like you did last night, Coach.
Yes, we played really well, and I don't know what the rebound count was, but I would imagine we probably out-rebounded them by 10 or 12, 14, 15 rebounds, and that was the key for us. And I think we had 4 or 5 offensive rebound baskets, which is critical in any game. If you can do that, getting inside baskets, offensive rebound the ball is very, very important to any offense.
Mm-hmm. It really is. The glass is so important, and you guys got some second and third opportunities due to your work. And again, Eric Robinson, I thought was the MVP last night just because of what he did with Carson Muse. And as you talked about, underrated offensively, very efficient, hit a 3 last night. I know he did a nice job going to the rim. There was a couple other opportunities didn't fall for him, but I just liked watching him offensively too because, Coach, I know it's about playing the right way. There's that, but I thought he made the right reads offensively. He did a very nice job getting his teammates involved, getting them shots. I'm anxious to see this young man hopefully have a big postseason as you guys go on a run. And I know we were talking about it last night, but some college coaches really need to step it up and offer this kid. I really like what he's about.
He's a college player because he can. The one thing, and there's not a lot of kids can do, he can defend at the college level. He can defend perimeter guys at the college level. He's a very, very good athlete. He's long-legged, long arms.
Yep.
He can really guard the basketball. And the other thing Eric can do is the game is sort of slowed down for him. He makes open shots now. He doesn't force things like he tried to do a little bit early in the year. And he's figured out times and places that he can go get his buckets. And that's been a big, big thing for us the last 6 or 7 games for him.
It really has, and it's Westminster, a team we're definitely going to be watching down the stretch. 55-27 winners last night over the number 2 West Morgan Rebels on the road. Huge win, great performance all the way around, great team win, but especially Eric Robinson, a name to watch, a very special young man who's grinded and I think is earning an opportunity to get his education paid for and play on the next level. Well, Coach, we appreciate the time. We know it's a busy morning for you. We always enjoy talking some Westminster basketball, and good luck to you next week in the area tournament, and, of course, tonight against Mars Hill, but we always appreciate it and when you give us some time.
Thank you, Drew. Scott, appreciate all y'all do for hoops in North Alabama.
All right, thanks, Coach. All right, let's get that final break in tomorrow's headlines today when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Just got a new wreck reported. This one's going to be 231 at Walker Lane. It is coming in as an injury type. They still have the number 1 and number 2 lanes blocked off westbound on 565 near the Sparkman overpass. That traffic continues to be backed up in the downtown area. Bob Wade and Mount Lebanon should be clear now. Popeye's famous chicken sandwich is only $4.99. Crispy tender chicken on a delicious toasted brioche bun. Love that chicken from Popeye's, University and Jordan. 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, Check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Streaming only on Peacock. From the mind of Ryan Johnson, the writer-director of Knives Out.
Miss Gale, you've got this gift. Always known the truth.
I only know if something is alive. The real trick of it is to figure out why.
Natasha Lyonne is Charlie Cale.
It wasn't an accident. I think there's been a murder.
You watch too much Dateline.
A new 10-part mystery series.
Wolves on my fender. I gotta keep moving. I have been kind of a death magnet.
Poker Face, streaming now only on Peacock.
NFL playoff season is here, and the best place to catch all of the action, all the way up until the Super Bowl, is Humphrey's Bar and Grill. Don't miss Humphrey's Game Day Football Specials, $2.75 Miller Lite, Yingling, Coors Light Pints, $3.50 Yellowhammer Gold Pints, $4 Fireball, anytime football is on. And with live music every night, there is no better place to party downtown than Humphrey's Bar and Grill. Humphrey's, always a party, never a cover. Located online at humphreysdowntown.com.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time, or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
At Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, people call the award-winning burgers totally insane, which is a compliment, because Bad Daddy's Burgers are just that, chef-inspired expressions of pure burger amazingness built with premium Angus beef. They're bold and they're bad. Pair one with one of their signature cocktails or assortment of local craft brews. Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, 2317 Memorial Parkway. Check out our menu and even order online at BadDaddy'sBurgerBar.com. Rambo Marine in Hazel Green is your one-stop shop for all things boating. Whether you are ready to surf with the newest Malibu wake boat or cruise on a Cobalt or Barletta pontoon, we have a boat ready for you and your family. Rambo Marine provides exceptional service second to none, so that you are ready to hit the water in no time. Stop by Rambo Marine today. We know boats.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
College football obviously never stops. Tomorrow you get signing day part 2, but today it's kind of a big deal, I think. We get the Big 12 football schedules today. Why do we care about that? Because it's the first schedules that will have Houston, Cincinnati, BYU, and UCF a part of it. So the 2023 Big 12 football schedule comes out with the 4 new Big 12 teams added into it for the first time. So that's pretty...
And probably Oklahoma and Texas last.
Could be.
And more than likely.
Very well could be. And then on this day in 1988, we got this.
You can go. I said, I'm ready, Coach.
A torn bicep once prevented Williams from going to a Super Bowl with Tampa. A sprained knee wasn't about to stop Williams from winning a Super Bowl with Washington.
1988, Doug Williams comes back on the field after a knee sprain.
Yeah.
Leads the Washington Redskins.
What a rout.
To 35 points in the second quarter as they just dominate the Denver Broncos.
Oh, it was a massacre.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really the last chapter for Joe Gibbs. And I know that Mark Rippon, I think 2 or 3 years later, I guess it was 91 maybe.
Yeah,
but
Doug Williams was the first black quarterback.
Yeah, that was what was so historic.
Game.
Yeah, I mean, and he wasn't even their starting quarterback earlier in the year, but he took over and got it rolling and had the best game of his career at the best time. I mean, that second quarter was an avalanche. I just remember, a lot of people thought Denver and Elway might get a championship that year, and Doug Williams and the Redskins would have none of it. I mean, they just absolutely eviscerated them. And again, in that stretch of time, those are the last couple of Super Bowls for the great Joe Gibbs.
Yeah,
88, 91. The Redskins were a power back in those days.
They had the Hogs up front.
Yeah, they had the huge offensive line. And honestly, it was kind of interesting because Rippon had that one great year, but it was his one shining moment, really. Gibbs did it with different quarterbacks. Joe Theismann, he did it with Doug Williams, he did it with Mark Rippon. It was really interesting to see the different kind of supporting cast that Joe Gibbs did, had with the Redskins and what they were able to get done.
So I put on my Twitter page.
Yeah.
Would you spend $5,000 for one ticket to watch their Super Bowl in person? And the response that we got was no. I'd get a security job, then quit once I'm inside.
There you go. I mean, if I had all my expenses paid, ticket, hotel, everything, probably would take in a Super Bowl. But I'll be honest with you, and I'll just tell the listeners right here, I've never even been to an NFL game.
What?
Nope. Have not. I've been to a few NBA games, Major League Baseball games. I've countless college and high school football games. For whatever reason, I've never attended an NFL game. Tell the truth on this show, unlike Joel Klatt.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow. Things we learn on a Tuesday. All right, that's going to do it for our Tuesday edition of Talking Ball. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Download the app today so you can hear Alabama basketball tonight, 7:30. Alabama, Vanderbilt, Coleman Coliseum, 97.7 ESPN. The Zone is your home for Alabama basketball tonight. And UAH Charger basketball Thursday and Saturday.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Phil Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyota.